We are sick and tired of seeing people get labeled non compliant with medical therapy. We're going to talk about why this is a cop out, it's not doing anyone any good to help them get off medication, reverse diabetes, and how providers can take more ownership and why it's important for them to take more ownership in helping their patients. Hey, welcome to the Diabetes Remission Roadmap podcast with the two renegade pharmacists, Brian Bisher and Cory Jenks. You are listening to this because you are a person with type 2 diabetes who is committed and driven to breaking free from this diagnosis and creating a real, meaningful change in your health and life. In these episodes, we're here to help you ditch the scripts with doses of unconventional wisdom on topics such as fitness, nutrition, medication, mindset, and more. So without any further delay, let's dive right in. What's up, Cory?
Oh, I don't know. Just trying to find your armpit hairs, and I can't seem to quite find them. Did something happen to them? Did you trim your armpit hairs?
Yes. So
I
I'm not
mean,
gonna. I'll leave the details out of the why, but it
it's
was
beach season in
recommended.
Ohio, baby. It's March. It's obviously. I mean, when you're inside, it's always tank top season. So
Yes. Well, and if you must know,
we don't need to know. All we need
well,
to know is that you trimmed your armpit hairs, and they look great.
I feel like I
Um,
need to explain now. Just a sec. Just I won't go into all the details, but I did see a practitioner, and apparently my body deodorant was reacting with my body or something. So he recommended to get a new body deodorant. I did not have any deodorant that was approved until later today. So I just figured, well, let me just let it all air out so I don't stink up the house. And also had to trim up my body armpit hair. So
Listen,
that's that.
if you have a deodorant that causes your armpit hair to grow that much, I need some for my head. Please tell me after we record uh what you're using. I'll put it all over my head.
You can have it. I'll ship it out to you because I got like three sticks that I'm not allowed to use anymore.
You're not allowed to, man. This is a
Yeah.
guy with a lot of agency. He's just, oh man.
Speaking of agency, man, I do think it's important to talk about like when it comes to helping people take agency of their
Hmm.
own health. This is a topic that's really near and dear to my heart because I'm like looking through charts all the time. You know, like we still work, both of us still work in healthcare,
Hmm.
and we see this label all the time, non-compliant patient or non-compliant with medical therapy. Does that irk you like it
Hmm.
irks me?
Yeah, because we give these overwhelmed patients zero education, 7 minutes with the provider, and a complicated plan, and then we get angry at them, and we blame the patient when they're, and I'm going to use the air quotes here for everyone. Everyone is listening because we don't do a video version of this, air quote, non-compliant. So it more than irks me, Ryan. It pisses me off. Uh, like patients have it hard enough. They have to navigate our dumb healthcare system. They have oftentimes very stressful family lives, and they have these conditions that are now chronic because we focus on diabetes. We can say diabetes. It might be heart failure, it might be high blood pressure. We give them these complex regimens and ask them to take a huge chunk of their lives to follow them to air quote get healthier, which is just to manage the symptoms of the disease. And then when they're not able to follow these complex things, we call them non-compliant. And then the patient feels bad, they feel disempowered, and it's basically a bunch of learned helplessness and a nasty cycle that leaves them to not do anything and get even sicker. And then the doctor gets angry at them, and then they don't come to the doctor, and then they die early. Let's sum it
Yeah.
up.
Shame, burnout, blame, just it's poor all around. And I think it's generous that you even labeled it the healthcare system because I think it's truly a more of a sick care system.
I've
But
never heard that term used before, Brian. What? I'm just
oh, I
kidding.
know.
We use it
Yes.
all the time. Continue.
Yes. So yeah, it's a shame gain. There's a lot of blaming going on, and when the doctors feel like the patients, quote unquote, I don't even like the word patients. We talked about that before, but patients just means more like getting something done to you versus client taking action. So inherently, I think labeling people as patients is disempowering, but we'll let that slide because it's a very well just accepted term at this point. I don't think getting that to change is going to be that's going to be that's going to take some time. But
If I thought that changing the term patient to client would make a huge difference in our massive healthcare problem, I would be for it. But I don't think that would change it. But let's focus back on I will say non-compliant pisses me off. So let's focus on what we agree on, and then we can have a
okay.
debate on the next episode about patient versus client. So.
So yeah, I mean, just the fact that they get labeled this non-compliant, it gets on their chart and then it gets brought up in meetings, and it's like you just have this misconception that gets brought up about these people when in reality it comes down to a lack of skill identifying where their skill gaps are and their knowledge gaps are and communicating effectively with them to help bridge those gaps and to empower them to make those small changes that are then going to lead to other small changes that can actually make an impact on their health.
Let me tell you a story, Brian. Can I tell you a patient story? This
Please
one
do,
isn't
Corey.
it's not a diabetes story, but it's a blood pressure story. So I had a patient years ago who came to me uh, for blood pressure management. They were managed by their nephrologist as well. They had chronic kidney disease. They had high blood pressure, which often causes the chronic kidney disease. And they had been put on hydralazine by their kidney doctor, despite the fact that this patient had told them, client, sorry, this human had told them that that hydralazine caused like headaches in the past. And the doctor was like, it doesn't matter. You're probably making it up. So, and then she didn't take it. And this is a patient who would have been labeled as non-compliant. And when I talked to her, I asked, so what goes on? You know, you're not taking your hydralazine, your blood pressure's high. Why not? And she said, because it gives me headaches, but the doctor told me to take it anyway. So this is that paternalistic relationship that, and I will say this, I'm not here to defend the poor behavior from providers, but I think you have two entities that are both conditioned to react a certain way. You have providers who are stressed out, overworked, and told that they're the boss, and that patients, if they just follow what they said, that they would get better. And then you have patients who are disempowered by years of being bopped around the healthcare system that really don't feel heard or listened to or seen, who don't want to listen to this terrible advice because they keep getting sicker anyway. So you get terrible advice given, and people who don't want to listen to it getting it, and then they're labeled non-compliant, but they're just conditioned to be that way. It's kind of like a kid that misbehaves in elementary school. Are they a bad kid, or are they a kid that needs to have more energy get out, or do they have a home life that's terrible and that's affecting them? Like it's this weird dichotomy, Brian, because we both are big fans of personal responsibility, but I think we also have to have compassion and empathy for people in tough circumstances. So, at what point do we give them a hug? At what point do you kick them in the rear? I don't know, but the label of non-compliant just is, I'm going to call it lazy. Like you say, you don't interrogate anyone to see why they're not taking their medicines or why their blood sugars are high, or you're not checking your blood sugar 3 times a day every time before you inject your mealtime insulin. No, it hurts. It hurts, doctor. I don't like doing it. My fingers hurt. Um, and I have neuropathy and it's hard for me to do it. I don't want to do it. And it's like, but you're on this mealtime insulin. Well, maybe there's someone who shouldn't take it. Like I know what the idea of like the standard of care says you need to do this. Well, when you have this human being in front of you that is unwilling to check their sugar, and you're like, well, you got to take insulin. That's the most, I see this all the time. They're like, well, you just got to take your insulin. We'll check your A1C. Like, that's the most dangerous thing you could do. Like, insulin can cause deadly hypoglycemia, and you could have no idea you're heading down that road. But because they're told to do it, they have to do it. So
Yeah.
that's where this origin of noncompliance. And like there are obstinate patients, and again, sometimes it might be because they've been conditioned because they've been kicked around the whole healthcare system. So I'm not advocating that patients can abuse providers, but I think providers need to do a little bit better job of listening and providing that context and education within the constraints that they have with the limited time they have, which I will acknowledge as well.
Yeah, well said, man. And I want to bring up a couple points there that you talked about because I want to dive deeper into the children example, the lack of the child with a behavior issue.
Hmm.
That I've learned for me personally is like a lot. It's a missing skill, and so the same thing, like I said, applies here. Is when someone is not doing something that you're telling them to do. Well, either one, you're not listening to them in the first place, which that plays a huge part in building that rapport and that trust is actually listening to people's concerns and making shared decisions on their treatment plan and their health plan. But at the same time, like you must listen and then help identify and close these skill gaps because a lot of times if they're not doing something, it's because they don't know how, they're not comfortable, they don't understand why it's super important. And we just, that's our job is to explain that, communicate that to them, make it in terms they can understand. Because another thing that really pisses me off, and this kind of goes along with like the whole idea of non-compliant, is when I'm sitting in front of someone and they're like, oh man, my doctor is going to get mad at me for
Oh boy,
this.
yeah,
And it's
that's
like,
like it's like every week I hear that from a patient, or patient will say like they'll walk in the door, we'll walk towards the scale, and they'll just say, "Oh, you're not going to like this, or you're going to be mad at me." That tells me you have been abused by your doctors in the past.
That and probably they have parent issues, but there's a lot of probably deep-rooted problems there, just in this fact of like there's a lot of discipline in their life, but one role, one interaction, there should not be any discipline between you and your doctor. They should not be getting mad at you. They should not be pointing the finger at you. They should be taking complete ownership of the situation. If you're not doing something, that's on them, not you. Honestly, I truly believe that it's like they're our job as providers to really take it upon ourselves to take full ownership of the situation. And we have to find a better way to either get you to do something. Now, are there people that have, I'm just going to say it, like lost the will to live? Yeah, there are people that have lost the will to live. And I think sometimes we take the healthcare, the treatment too far, where we should be focused more on comfort measures. And yeah, that definitely is a situation. But we're not going to get into that. We're talking like people that are
I
not
talk to
quite at that.
ambulatory people, Brian. They're on their feet or in a wheelchair, but like are living life. So that whole idea of like you're gonna be mad at me, I tell them like it's not my blood sugar. Like you didn't kick my dog. Like unless someone really tries to insult me, I'm not mad at them. Like it's their health. Like I've provided. I I feel like it's my job to I'm a pharmacist. I'm here. I can dispense medicines. I'm here to dispense information, help dispense plans, and they can listen. They can apply them or not. And if they don't, what I say is, okay, what I told you didn't work. Why did it not work? And let's try to figure out something that does work. But I'm not mad at you. Like I,
Mm-mm.
I think doctors, honestly, I think some might get mad because if they are paid by performance or they have certain measures they need to meet, well, all of a sudden that A1C of 11 is going to get in the way of that bonus, isn't it, Brian? No, I am mad. Right? So I mean, there could be a level of bitterness there that, oh man, they're getting in the way of my money. Now I am pissed. But yeah, if you have been abused by your doctor and they got mad at you, I mean, on the one hand, at least they still care enough to like have that. It's like the coach that yells at you. Like if I stop yelling at you, it means I've given up on you. And I kind of liked coaches that yelled at me, but I think young men need discipline. So, but that's besides the point. But I'm not saying it's okay for them to be air quote mad at you, but at least they still seem to care. But they kind of don't because if they're yelling at you, that's not the way to talk to an adult to get them to make their behavior change. And as you and I know, like it's really hard to get people to change their behavior sometimes. And with children, as we know, yelling doesn't work unless you want to just pour gasoline on that fire. So I think that yeah, the big things we're talking about here, like non-compliance or not adherent. Well, if you give them a crappy plan, they're not going to adhere to it. And then if you're getting if someone's getting mad at your patient because at a patient because they're not succeeding, and if the majority of your patients are not succeeding, maybe you should be mad at yourself. Do we need to cite the statistic that only 7% of adults in America do not have one of the five symptoms or signs of metabolic syndrome? Because that means 93% of us are failing, and that means the advice sucks. 93% of people are not that bad. It's a terrible environment and terrible advice. So it's time, as you say, to take ownership and look in the mirror and stop insulting the people we're caring for.
Yeah, and I'd really be curious enough if people were actually raising their voice and yelling. I bet it's more like, you really should be doing this. Like, why are you not doing this? It's probably
Yeah.
just more like that disappointment. And for me, if anything, in those situations, I'm just like sad. There's like sad, not mad. I'm like trying to have some empathy for you here. There must be something going on. Like, let's get to
Yeah.
the why, right?
Yeah.
Like, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, and I do think there needs to be some ownership from patients. Like I will have these appointments where 3 months ago we were like, I know this is the diabetes remission roadmap. Not everyone wants to remission their diabetes. So we're starting a medicine. 3 months ago, you're in my office, your blood sugars are high, we're starting a medicine. You come back 3 months later. How did it go starting that new medicine? Oh, I never got it. Well, what happened? The pharmacy didn't said they couldn't get it. All right. Well, did you tell me within the last you've had 3 months to try to rectify this? There's other pharmacies, there's other medicines. So in those scenarios, I don't get mad, but I'm just kind of like, oh, what do you want me to do for you? Like that is a question I will ask patients is like I will own that I ordered this. And if you had told me that I can't get it and I didn't do anything, that's on me. But there is a point, I think, when what do you want me to do for you? I think that's a fair question that those of us on the provider side can ask. Um, And I've had those conversations, and then I've had that med reordered, and there's an issue, and they call me that day, and we fix it. So there is behavior change, and I don't yell at the girlfriend. It's usually a day when I haven't slept good. My kids have been also like not behaving, and I'm just kind of like, oh, it's children all day long. So I will throw a little bone to us providers of for patients who have like if there's zero ownership from patients, then there I'll admit there's some frustration, but and most of the time it's I did what the doctor said and I'm not getting better and he yelled at me. It's because it's
Hmm.
bad advice. So
Yeah. Well, I guess yeah, I was the one that said that we should take complete ownership. And I think what I had in mind is like in an ideal world, and I understand there's like some limitations here. It's like you send the medication and you call, make sure it gets picked up. There's like a system in place, and that would be like an ideal healthcare system where there's like
mhm,
accountability checks and stuff. Or it's like maybe you're starting something new. You should be, you know, asking more questions. Say instead of it being 3 months to find it out, you're like, well, you know what? I'm gonna follow up with you in a week, and that way we
right.
close that gap.
Yeah,
And that's kind of like what we.
that'd be great at the healthcare if the system I worked in allowed me to have such short follow-ups, right? So that's the other side of the coin is are we in a system that's designed to fail everybody? Um, so that's
But
that's
that's
something to
why,
ponder too.
yeah,
Yeah.
and we're interrupting each other a lot here. But that's why we do what we do, right? That's
Mhm.
why we create this environment where there is way more accountability, there's way more t checkpoints, so
Mhm.
that yeah, you do have to take ownership. I can't just assign you a workout and some recommendations on food and eating, and then I'm not literally gonna go to your house and feed you and help you move your body. Like we're gonna draw the line there. But like if there was that level of like involvement, first of all, that would be a very costly, expensive investment on your end. So we're not going to go there. And I think most people agree that's not reasonable. Although I have heard of that happening where like people are like that concierge of medicine where they're like, I'm just going to go to your house. We're going to do this. And like, oh, whatever. I will give you the tools, but also create the environment for accountability so that I'm doing my end and I'm like constantly reevaluate like is this working for them? Are they like checking in enough or are they checking in not enough? Like, are they losing, am I losing them in the plan? Like, where is it going wrong? And I'm talking about that degree of ownership. It's like
Of
I'm
course.
owning all my parts that I can and trying to optimize for my side of the system and my side of the processes um, to as much as I can. Like, it's like for your patient, ideally, it's like I send it, if I'm concerned about this person not taking the medicine, like in the place I used to work, I'm sending it to our retail pharmacy. I'm walking this person over. I'm picking it up with them. I'm
Hmm.
calling them. Like I've taken that level of ownership with people before, where I've literally walked them to our pharmacy to get the medication.
Hmm.
Um, and I think there just needs to be more of that. Obviously, there's limitations again, as we said, but you're nodding your head like you got something you want to say.
No, I think that's the ideal world. You and I don't always work in an ideal world, and that's why we created what we've created to create that roadmap to remission, to give our clients, not our patients, that accountability on both ends, and creating a system that allows them to be accountable in a way that's not feeling onerous or blame driven, like from your doctor, and a way for us to be accountable in a way that actually works. So because we've been part of so many failed clinics, healthcare systems that we have learned what doesn't work and put everything together between the knowledge and the science of diabetes remission, but also the behavioral side. And I think that's what the main healthcare system misses. Because while
Mm,
they're
yeah.
labeling patients as non-compliant and getting mad at the patient, like the truth is they're not, it's like trying to grow a garden and not providing the right water and fertilizer for that garden and yelling at your seeds that they're not growing. Well, you've not properly provided the right nutrients and environment for that seed to thrive. And that's what we're tired of. We're tired of factory farming. So we wanted to go cultivate our own little garden here to help patients feel seen, heard, understood, listened to, and give them the tools to take ownership of their health. So you have to take less trips to this stupid doctor's office where they label you non-compliant.
That's really well said, man. I love that analogy of the seed in the garden and yeah, watering it. Like that's great. What would you say to someone who's maybe been labeled non-compliant? What should their next step be?
Well, it depends. What are you non-compliant with, right? If I think your next step might be find another doctor or find another system to help you uh, achieve your goals. Maybe you have to explain the reason why you're air quote non-compliant. Say this was too complicated. Say I don't understand. That those two words, I don't understand. Because maybe you didn't understand the importance of taking something, or you didn't understand the plan or your goals. And in the average 7 minute primary care appointment, you're not going to get enough. Like there's too much happening too fast to retain it all. We both work in healthcare, and I go to the doctor and leave, and I'm like, I don't remember everything. And I think I'm a pretty smart guy that works in this world. So if you're getting these labels, you need to find someone else. That easier said than done sometimes, but that's just the truth. You're not in a fertile environment for success.
I love that, man. It's a great point. And I think that, and I'll add like probably should really revisit your why. Like why is this important to you? Is it important to you? Decide that first. And if getting on the right path to remission, if it's diabetes, to reversing some other kind of chronic disease, which is likely tied to energy toxicity and hyperinsulinemia, then you really need to just figure out, is this important to me? Look at the costs, look at the benefits, and then just be like, yeah, I'm ready to do this and find someone who's going to, I'm not saying it has to be us, although it can be us, set you up on the right path, put you in the environment, give you who's not going to label you non-compliant, who's going to be concerned about you if you're not checking in and be like, hey, where are you at? Like, is everything okay? Uh, but we are going
Versus
to
I'm
give
mad
you,
at you.
yes, yes. And there's no incentives or bonuses tied to your success. That's truly on you. You own that. The results are you. There's nothing dependent on, like we don't depend on any of that. So, um, yeah, I think that's what I got. Corey, you got anything else to add?
No, I'm just staring at your chest hair now. He's in a tank top, ladies and fellas. So, no, no, that was a great discussion. I like that we can disagree a little bit sometimes, and but still come together with the big idea. And yeah, being a patient's hard. Being a provider's hard. Being a practitioner's hard. And our goal is to keep things as simple as possible and make you feel heard on your journey to actually regaining your health instead of stuck in this cycle of being labeled non adherent, non compliant, and getting yelled at. That doesn't help anybody. So,
Not at all. All right, see you on the next episode, guys. Thanks for listening. Now go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single episode. You can join us on the journey and roadmap to remission.